Hello everyone. On this channel, I feel that information about what is happening in China is often not correctly conveyed to countries other than China, so I will be disseminating the information I have gathered in English. I'm getting information from multiple media, so I'd be happy if you could comment on the content of the video. Also, English is not my native language, so I use an AI speaker to create the voice to convey the information correctly. This time, I will tell you about China's economic policy and the politics of Xi Jinping's henchmen. Due to the zero-corona policy, the Chinese economy has been greatly damaged in various aspects. In China, people were confined to their homes and restricted from moving, resulting in sluggish consumption and stagnant logistics. In addition, trade with China could be interrupted due to the suspension of logistics, and even if we were making investments or building factories, we did not know when we would be able to stop. As a result, trade was sluggish. On the other hand, there was also a theory that if the zero-corona policy is lifted, it will return to the original state. There has also been talk of retaliatory consumption when Chinese people, who have long been repressed inside China, are allowed to go out freely. In other words, it was said that China's domestic economy could recover explosively, but in reality, it seems that Chinese consumption has not recovered. Rather, they are in a very defensive posture. In the past, China used to use credit cards to spend more than one's income, but now it is considered outrageous to borrow and spend. In today's China, we don't know when we will be fired, or when we will be able to lower our salaries. People who buy apartments or cars with loans will soon be in trouble. As a result, they tend to spend less and save more. In addition, there is a growing awareness of wanting to buy similar products at the lowest possible price. Companies also know that if they raise prices, sales will fall, so the situation continues that they cannot raise interest rates even though costs have risen. This is a chicken race situation. Companies in China are trying to cut profits and maintain low prices, but their strength is steadily declining, and in some cases they may go bankrupt. And this chicken race continues until rivals are eliminated and supply and demand are balanced. There were quite a few views that the slump in the Chinese economy was due to the coronavirus, and that if the zero-corona situation was lifted, things would actually get better than before. There used to be a view that the Chinese economy would revitalize even if left unchecked, but recently various figures have shown that this is not the case. Since the beginning of June, the command center of China's economic policy has recognized that the Chinese economy is in serious trouble, and has come up with a policy on what measures should be taken to deal with it. By the way, what kind of organization is the control tower of the Chinese economy? It is considered a very important organization in China. The top of this organization is an organization in which the senior officials of the state, the deputy prime minister level, are appointed. Until recently, a Xi Jinping aide named He Lifeng has been the head of the organization. This person has been a close aide to Xi Jinping for quite some time. He is regarded as one of Xi Jinping's closest aides, as he is said to be one of the few members who attended the small wedding ceremony of Xi Jinping when he got married. This person was the head of the Development and Reform Committee until very recently, but recently he has come up with policies regarding measures for the Chinese economy. This includes the current challenges facing the Chinese economy and the outlook for the future. Since the Chinese economy has a great influence, its trends may have a large impact on the global economy. Attention is focused on the future development of the Chinese economy. He has been replaced by a person named Zheng Zhojia. And this person is also very close to Xi Jinping. Zheng Zhojia is considered to be a person close to Xi Jinping because he met Xi Jinping during his time in Fujian province. He is an important playmaker when it comes to the economy. It is solidified by Xi Jinping's close aides. On June 16, the organization indicated that the Chinese economy would be in trouble if it remained as it was, and that it had indicated 6 priority items. The Chinese government was tempted to come up with a tremendous policy to stimulate the economy, but it turned out to be no good. Currently, Consumption in China is sluggish, so it is a big problem that if we don't do something, we will fall into a deflationary spiral. Since there is an oversupply in China, companies are going to be weeded out. In that case, the number of unemployed people will increase and the economy will deteriorate further, so they are saying that they will increase automobile consumption as a countermeasure. Taking out a loan to buy a car is a difficult decision for many Chinese people, as their salaries are going down next year and they may even be fired. The automobile industry has a large impact, so the idea is that if automobiles sell well, the Chinese economy will recover. We have set out a policy to sell more automobiles domestically, but since the Development and Reform Commission is an organization run by Xi Jinping's close aides, this is the same as Xi Jinping's directive. In areas where the consumption of automobiles has increased as instructed, the evaluation of the person in charge may rise. In the future, in China, there is a possibility that there will be more reports that the number of cars sold has increased using various means, such as manipulating various numbers, creating subsidies, or disguising automobile purchases by corporations as purchases by ordinary people. I have. Another policy that many people are stunned by is calling for more infrastructure investment. There are many types of infrastructure investment, but some of them include railways, which are already said to be unnecessary. Infrastructure investment has the greatest economic effect when it is necessary to create infrastructure because the country currently lacks it. For example, in Vietnam today, there is still a shortage of railways, so it is said that if more railways are built, the Vietnamese economy will develop further. Alternatively, there are not enough warehouses or roads are not maintained, so if we create such things in Vietnam, the Vietnamese economy will develop. China already had everything it needed long ago. So, building roads or railroads in China today only means temporarily channeling money to the region. Once a railroad is built, it will continue to cost money for its operation, but as long as it is economically effective, there is no problem. However, if you try to invest in the railway business in China today, you will be able to make money temporarily, but after that, you will be in the red. The current situation in China is that there are overwhelmingly more sections that are already in the red. When I thought that some new ideas would come out, I only got told ideas that were temporary. In short, it only makes things worse. Funding for these things is basically debt. If you take out a loan to build a railway, the money will temporarily go there, so you can alleviate the unemployment problem to some extent, but the bank that lent you the money will not be able to recover it. Under such circumstances, information about future expectations regarding financial resources is circulating. It seems that the information source is a person who knows the situation in China. First, we will issue 1 trillion yen special government bonds. In terms of Japanese yen, it is about 20 trillion yen. You collect money, but the problem is how you spend it. Currently in China, there is a problem that local governments cannot repay their debts. It is alleged that they are trying to defer their debt problems by handing out money to local governments, nominally to fund infrastructure investments. And the other is about real estate in China. In China, real estate is for living and should not be subject to investment or registration. This is one of the major policies of the Xi Jinping administration. According to that policy, there is no problem in buying a condominium to live in currently in China, but there are various regulations when buying a second condominium. Buying real estate other than the condominium you are currently living in is considered to be for investment purposes, so there are various restrictions. There is information that there is a movement to remove the limit only in local cities. In short, China's economy is currently in a slump, so we will change our policy to ask people to buy condominiums in local cities for whatever reason. However, local condominiums are not selling well, or prices are falling. The reason is that China's population will continue to decline in the future. And that means that the population will not decrease evenly throughout China, and that there will be an outflow of population from regional cities to large cities. It is thought that the people and the economy will be sluggish in the future where it is getting lonely now. If you buy a lot of real estate properties in a land where the population will decrease in the future, the value will decrease. The only people who don't really understand are the people who borrow money from banks to buy such things. I don't usually buy condominiums that are likely to go down in price in the future. That's why the price is going down. If you say that the second real estate purchase regulation has been lifted, it will not mean that rural condominiums will sell well in the future. The Chinese mindset is defensive, so they don't borrow money here to buy an apartment in an unknown region. It was a kind of bubble that local condominiums were selling. It sold well because there was a bubble atmosphere where you could make money by buying an apartment. It is said that even if the regulations were lifted after the economy got worse, it would have little effect. Another thing to watch out for here is China's interest rate cuts. The economy is not a world where interest rates alone are sufficient, but looking at America today, we can see that interest rates have an effect. When it comes to U.S. interest rates, the world is paying attention, but China's interest rates are getting less attention. In China, contrary to the United States, it was thought that interest rates would be raised, so the recent rate cut came as a surprise. The Japanese know best that lowering interest rates does not revitalize the economy. A rate cut won't have much of an effect unless there are a lot of people wanting to borrow money. As for China, there is no demand for funds. Since there are no foreign orders for Chinese companies, domestic demand in China is sluggish, so there is no reason to invest in facilities to increase production. Rather than borrowing money to do something new when you need to downsize. So even if you cut the interest rate, you won't be able to activate the economy. The reason for the interest rate cut is that the Chinese economy is a tremendous debt economy, and various places are burdened with debt. Therefore, if the interest rate is raised, the burden of interest payments will increase, so perhaps the reason why China is unexpectedly lowering interest rates is not to revitalize the economy, but to keep interest rates down so that the burden of interest payments will not cause bankruptcy. It is considered. To summarize today's video, the Chinese government is currently aware that the Chinese economy is in a slump, but there is no effective way to deal with it. That's all for now. See you next time.